This is the first day of kindergarten art lesson. This part of the video is for the adult who is giving the art lesson, and then there'll be a part 2 of this video that is for direct instruction for the child. So kindergarten lesson 1, day 1, the kindergartners come in and I just have them sit anywhere, and then I introduce myself, and then we do what is art, like a Google slideshow, because a lot of kids come into art class and they say their first question is, what is art class? So we do a Google slideshow presentation with just images. And the whole point is that everything is art. They are art, nature is art, the furniture is art, that everything around them is art. And but by the end of kindergarten, they can kind of tell me that they are art, everything is art, that there's no such thing as good or bad art. Art just is. We can make bad art if we want. We can make good art if we want. And that they can tell me by the end of kindergarten that art is everything. So after we've gone through this Google slideshow, it shows all different imagery. And I'll put this on the Teachers Pay Teachers site under the same name as this YouTube channel, Art Teacher Maven, going through that if you'd like to have something that you can have in your hands that you can print out or put on your whiteboard screen. So after we go through that, it shows a little bit of everything that crayons are something we use to make art, and markers and clay and paint and clothing is art, and shoes are art, that someone made them, and artists are makers. Then we usually read a book. So we try to break it up into chunks. My kindergartners are usually around 5 years old, so they have like a 5-minute attention span. And my classes are usually about 40 minutes. So you might have to, depending on how many minutes you have, make it longer or shorter. And I usually see my students 35 times. So you might have to make it longer or shorter depending on how much time you have. So that might mean like adding extra slides, or a book and a song, or 2 books that you can just chunk it up and give their brain a break in that 40-minute chunk of time. So I usually read something very calming, as it's maybe their first day of school or their first day ever in an art room, and there's a lot of emotions usually in September. So a very calm book like I Am an Artist is a great one to read. I introduce the paintbrush only, no paint, just water. So just going through the paintbrush, I will put these images that you can color in yourself or print in color, and we just go over just the paintbrush and just putting water on the paintbrush. So we'll use these in the second half of this video. So we introduce just the paintbrush, something really fun and engaging so that they want to come back to school, they want to come back to art class, that they like it, that they like coming to class, that they enjoy it. So we're going to use water, construction paper, and just a paintbrush. We're focusing on just mark making. Their grip on the paintbrush is just this like dynamic like tripod grip. This is important OT for like buttoning buttons or tying shoes or picking up pennies. We use these fingers a lot, so we call them like a dinosaur grip, because some, as my students have told me, dinosaurs only had 2 and 3 fingers. So we call it like holding our paintbrush with a dinosaur grip. So we talk about mark making, grip, and being gentle and like tickling the paper. If you don't want to waste a lot of construction paper, a calligraphy scroll is a great like eco-friendly option, because you can use it over and over again. And this would be like the whole 40-minute class. There's no writing names on the paper. They don't know how to write their names usually at this point anyway. So there's no worrying about running around and writing their names on their paper for them or sending something home. It's just super low stress, low demand, a gentle like first day art lesson. I'll show you the calligraphy scroll. This is a reusable calligraphy scroll. You can use it over and over again. All you need is, and I'll link this in the description box if you're interested in this, All you need is water and a brush, and just focus on how to hold the brush and how to load water onto the brush. Their grip and being gentle so that we don't put a hole in the paper. If you're on a budget with this, you, instead of buying 24 of these scrolls at a table, you could have 2 students share one scroll and the other 2 students at a table share the other scroll. So that way you only buy half the amount of scrolls. Or you could have kids sit on the floor and put one kid here and one kid here. That way they can kind of share the scroll because it's very long, this particular scroll. And then they can just make marks and it evaporates, and then you can use it again and again and again and again. So if you want to invest in something like this, also something great for a substitute teacher to use in your absence. So we're going to put away the scroll, and we're going to do this half for students. So any colored piece of construction paper will work. So we've done the slideshow, we've read the book, and here is our piece of construction paper. So every student gets one, every student gets water near them or to share, and a paintbrush. We're going to roll our sleeves up so we keep our clothes nice and clean. We have our piece of paper, and we have our magic water that is going to paint on the paper. So we want to focus on our dinosaur grip. Dinosaurs were amazing artists because they only had 2 or 3 fingers, so they were great at holding their paintbrush. So we want to use these 2 fingers as like a little pillow, as a little tripod to sit on, to balance our hand. My hand's in the air, it's kind of wobbly and shaky, but if I put it down, my grip is a lot better and I can brace myself against the table. We're going to work in our own area. Here's our water. So this is our paintbrush, and let's look at our images of our paintbrush. So we have our brush, a very happy paintbrush. Its hair is nice and tall and straight. We have the metal part of the brush. On this one, it's gold colored. Sometimes they're silver, and then we have like the wooden or plastic handle. Our paintbrush does not want to look like a squid or an octopus. It wants to look like a paintbrush. So how can we make our paintbrush not have a headache and be sad and crying and have multiple colors and look more like an octopus than a paintbrush? How do we actually want to treat our brush? We want our brush to have its hair in one nice line with one color on the paintbrush at a time. So anytime we're going to switch colors, we would wash the brush and keep its hair all in a nice line. And that's how we keep our paintbrush happy. So we want a nice happy brush. And we're going to put nice calming music on and just practice loading water into our brush. So we're going to swish, swish, drag the extra water off on the sides. Let's do that again. Swish, swish. I'll show you up close. Swish, swish, drag, drag. And then we're going to do some mark making. We can make little dots. We can make lines, make letters, whatever you like, shapes. You can make something specific like an animal, something that has eyes and a nose and a mouth or ears. You can make bugs, whatever you want. And we're just going to listen to some nice music. You might want to talk to the other people at your table. You might not want to talk. And we're just going to practice until the music shuts off. We're just going to practice making marks on our paper with the magic paint. And you can see my lines are disappearing, my dots are disappearing. We want to use a small paintbrush for this versus a big paintbrush. The big paintbrush will be done very, very, very quickly. So we want to use like a size 2, a size 4 paintbrush is great. If you're worried about students going through this really quickly, a size 2 is better than a size 4. It'll just take longer to put marks all over the paper. Or just the next size up piece of construction paper. This is a half size. You can choose to use the 12 by 18 if you like, depending on how many minutes you're trying to fill. And you want to leave about 2 minutes at the end of class just to clean up and line up. You can dry this piece of paper and use it again for another group. So we want to be very gentle. We want to keep our paintbrush in a nice line. Get the hairs in a nice line. So when we're very gentle, we can tickle our own hand with the water. We don't want to make him look like a squid or an octopus and hurt the paintbrush like that, because it's going to ruin all the bristles are going to come out. And if all the bristles come out, we won't have any paintbrushes to paint with. And you can practice this as often, as much as you like, with just a little bit of water, and any colored piece of construction paper will work for this. And this is a nice thing to do when you're feeling any like big emotions. If you're feeling angry, if you're feeling sad, you can just paint on the construction paper. Artists are really great at using their art to handle big feelings. Big feelings are part of life, and small feelings are part of life. Art is a great way to express yourself. And that is a day one lesson. If you have questions, you can email them. I'll put the email in the description box also. And otherwise, I hope you enjoy this idea. You can listen to these ideas on your way to work if you're looking for something new and fun to do with kindergarten. I'm going to put these things on Teachers Pay Teachers, and some of these things will be listed in the description box for in a few days' time for easy access. Thanks for watching.